Welcome to the Zachrilege Cast podcast, YouTube video, interview program that features me talking to some of the best and brightest in the atheist / secular / awesome community. This is episode number 51, and we're recording live on March 24th, 2016. I would like to thank Ina for being on last week, and sorry about the delay in getting the show out. I had to be a big boy and actually edit for once. Find her at Nice Mangoes, one word, no E, on Twitter. And yes, I'm done with the breakup between her and Paul. Tonight's guests are legendary and fit in with the new atheist podcast model of creating so much content that you cannot listen to anyone else. No illusions and Heath and right. And I can't forget Lucinda and Eli, not pictured here. Not only produced 3 of the best atheist / political / religious movie takedown shows in the known universe, they have a rabid base of fans who are nice and shit. Hey, it's true, I said it. These are the men responsible for the Roast of God at ReasonCon 2015, Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, and God-Awful Movies. Since this duo has produced a couple of 100 hours of content, coming up with one out-of-context quote for each co-host was a daunting task, but I'm game. So for Heath...
you have an out-of-context... The in-context quotes are a problem. This is going to be out-of-context?
They're kind of both. So for Heath, you get to day 30 of a hunger strike and eating a dick doesn't sound bad. And Noah, I should have a goddamn fatwa by now. So good evening, Noah and Heath, and are you descended from filthy monkey men?
Proudly.
Most likely.
And I just want to say, if I had a doll where you had a little string, you know, like a Chatty Cathy or whatever, that would be one of the 5 things that I would say. I should have a goddamn fatwa by now. So, yeah. Good choice.
I wouldn't say the thing about the dicks on my doll, but whatever. Maybe there's a market for that.
Yeah. It'd be good to in top 5. Someone's going to produce that.
Depends on the size of the doll, I think. Is the key.
Well, generally speaking, when I start, I would ask about the host's religious background, but I think your podcasting background is of more interest to listeners. So how did a Christmas present of a microphone in late 2012 help get Scathing Atheist started?
It was mostly a desperate attempt to make sure that I would continue to get good Christmas presents. If she didn't see me using this one, she got me a 3D printer this year, and it's sitting there and it's not getting a lot of use. And
that Yoda's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but no.
3D printed Yoda's pretty sweet.
I just wanted to make sure that I was going to get more cool toys. No, I mean, it's something that we started to do several years earlier, and then we realized how much work podcasting actually was. I naively thought that you just plug 2 microphones into your computer and go. And then I said, wow, this is going to be a shit ton of work. And so we decided not to do it. And then, I talked about it. And my wife got sick of hearing me talk about it. So she bought me this microphone right here and kind of gave me the put up or shut up look.
Write that novel you've been working on. Make that podcast you've been working on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did go back because I went back in iTunes, and of course they only do about 100 episodes, just 100. And so I had to go to your site to listen to the first episode and hear it. And at first I was like, wait a second, is Heath not on episode 1? But then, he shows up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was, honestly, I feel like I keep that first episode up just so that people who are new to podcasting can listen to it and say, okay, yeah, nobody knew what the hell they were doing on episode 1. So, but yeah, that's kind of a painful one to listen to.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes, maybe I can get up to that level, after 60 episodes or so. But it's, I don't know. I thought it was good. I mean, because I had listened to the show for a while, I feel like I listened back far enough where you only did 30 minutes, but when did you decide to expand and go to the full hour?
I believe that was episode 70.
70, yeah, 71, I was going to say.
Yeah, I was right about there. It was one of our Patreon goals. We felt like, what kept the show 30 minutes when we first started was the fact that we both had, 50 plus hour a week jobs to do on top of it. But we felt like if we could reach a point with a Patreon where both of us could be doing this for a living, we could easily double our output, throw another, 50 hours a week towards it.
But I loved bartending so goddamn much that I kept doing it for a while. But yeah, no, I don't have to. It's pretty sweet.
Got a true love, yeah, of the show. So what is it like to say, yes, I do podcasts for a living? And
the honest truth to me is it's always weird because mostly nobody knows what the hell that means. Like, anybody who would care about it would already know probably when they met me that that's what I did. But most of the time when people say, when I say I do a podcast for a living, people are like, is that like a blog? What is that?
Right. It's like saying you're in a garage band, but you have to explain what a garage band is each time. It's kind of like that when I tell people what I do. And it's also kind of like my parents aren't happy that I am not finding a way to pay back the thousands and thousands of dollars they spent on college with podcasting at the moment. We're getting there, though.
Super lucrative. Well, now when the show started, and I had to admit, it took me about 10 episodes to say, wait a second, these assholes are live in Valdosta? Like, how did you get there, and how did you convince Heath to join you?
Yeah, no, the second one we've
question.
agreed never to talk about, never to discuss. But, my wife is from around here. So, we were living in New York. I lost a job I'd had for a really long time. This was about a year after we started, almost exactly a year after we started the podcast. And I told my wife after she says, well, what the hell are we going to do? I was like, maybe I could just do the podcast for a living. And she's like, yeah, that's like a middle-aged, I'm going to start a band and be a rock star. Like, how about something that would pay the bills or something instead? So I decided to do an experiment. I had a couple of months of severance from the company that I had been working for. So I went to where the rent and everything else was as absolute cheap as it can be and still be in the US to see if we could actually make the podcast into a profitable venture. And I don't know that I would say profitable exactly, but it certainly got to where it would pay the bills. But that's really the answer is just, I can rent a house here cheaper than I can park a car in New York City. So kind of had to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the difference will be stark. At some point, I'll have to ask you guys about New York City attractions to see, because I'll be there in a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah?
He can tell you everywhere to go for good food. He's eaten at every restaurant in New York, all 6,000 of them, or 60.
Pretty much.
Have you mapped out? Have you made a pizza map yet? Because you're 2 weeks out. You should already have a pizza map at least sketched.
That's the funny thing. My wife's all about, I want to see these shows on Broadway. And I'm like, I want to go from the coal-fired pizza place to the coal-fired pizza place.
You understand. Broadway's nice, but yeah, the best pizza places aren't right in Midtown there. It's not where you want to go.
We'll figure it out. So Lucinda made her first show appearance as a Kentucky game show host contestant on the first episode. So when did she get to get her own segment, and what's it like to work as a husband and wife on the show?
Well, actually, that coincided with when we moved to an hour. It was, I believe, episode 70 was the first This Week in Misogyny she did. So she's coming up on her 100th anniversary. But yeah, she's been a big part of the show since before its inception, obviously. As far as working as husband and wife, we met working together at a little pizzeria when I was 19 years old. And we've basically worked together the entire time we've been married. Oh, apologies. There's some thunder and lightning going on out here. I'm going to close a window real quick and make the sound a little bit better. But
I got you.
Okay.
Actually, Heath's going to do that.
He's the official window guy.
Yeah, exactly.
These things happen. It's live TV for you.
Yeah, apologies.
All right.
That's the part that gets edited out of the Scathing Atheist. That's why we don't do video, I guess.
Can I ask you a question real quick? We've been talking for a minute now. Can we address the hat? What do you got going there?
Well, there's a email company in Atlanta called MailChimp, and their thing is the chimp, obviously. So I figured I'd wear this hat in honor of.
Why are there still monkey hats? There you go. Nice.
Exactly. The only problem is I get locked up in this studio, and now that it's getting warmer, and I got all the Klieg lights on me, I'm starting to get a little sweaty, so I might have to go. But I figured it was worthy. I think I wore it a little bit on ReasonCon weekend. But that was
pretty awesome to have a hat with a hat on. That's
double hat.
Yeah. I was upset when I first saw it. I was like, man, you didn't tell me we were doing goofy hats. I'd have gone out and got something.
Yeah, I know. I should do a lot more prep for the guests. Just throw you guys in the pool, see if you can swim. I feel like you probably can. But I'll throw this question to Heath. So what's it like swimming in the deep pool of atheist groupies who live in South Georgia?
The pool is pretty dry. Yeah, there's a university here. So, yeah, I mean, maybe there's some nerdy professors that might be up I haven't found them yet, though. I haven't found them. Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty much do a lot of swimming myself, a lot of personal backstroking, forward stroking, all the strokes myself. Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing you have your own sink, right?
I do. Good callback. Nice. Yeah, I have my own sink. Never get laid, but I do get the privilege of personal sinkage pretty much every day. Whenever I want. I wash my hands, my face. It's great.
So no, I hate to admit how little prep I did, but where are you now? Where are you recording from?
I live in Atlanta, so I'm actually not terribly far away.
All right. So yeah, you know, I mean, Atlanta's kind of a different universe than Valdosta. But yeah, at least you know what it's like to be completely surrounded by religions.
I mean, it is a weird, like, blue dot in a red state, but there's a like a local, yes, humanist kind of group I go to, and it's like a 15-mile drive, and I pass 20 different churches, and they're like 19 different denominations, and they all have all the truth. And actually, one of the free thought group that meets, they actually meet in a former church. I mean, half the buildings in town are churches or former churches. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, we got the same thing here. I literally, what was it, yesterday, I'm walking into the store, and this little 6-year-old girl, I'm probably going to end up writing a diatribe about this for next week's show. A little 6-year-old girl walks up to me with a stack of Jesus books she's selling for a youth group. And I can see the youth group leader standing right back there, and they don't have the balls to come up to me because they know I can't get all shitty with a little cute 7-year-old pigtailed blonde girl. So I have to just be like, yeah, no, those are very good books, and you're doing a very good job. You don't have any atheist books, do you? No? All right, well, good luck.
I think Eli might have yelled at her if he had been there. I think if there's anybody we know that might have kicked her and yelled.
Let me see your left hand. There's 6 fingers on it, isn't there? In there.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard to say no when they're selling the Girl Scout cookies or when the kids are there.
Oh, Thin Mints are the fucking best.
Well, I mean, you know, when the Girl Scouts come up, I'm just like, yeah, shit, give me 6 abortions worth. But with like basically any stupid thing a kid is selling, I buy. You know, if a kid walks in, I'm selling M&Ms for my, yeah, give me some. I don't even like the peanut ones. Fine, I'll take it, whatever. But to try to use a little kid to sell me your Jesus, especially since it's slave labor. You know, when I walked away wishing I'd asked the the wit of the staircase on this one was, I would have loved to ask the little girl, and if you sell one, how much of the money do you get? Huh? Slave labor? Oh, God's allowed to do that, huh? It's funny because if you were selling atheist books, you couldn't get away with that shit.
Well, it's never atheist. The only thing that gets the Christians to stop is like when the Satanists get involved. And they're not necessarily really Satanists, but when they say the word, it's like kryptonite.
Yeah, right. No, I thought that when they did their unveiling or whatever, they wanted to keep the Christians away. They made everybody who walked in sign their soul to Satan. I thought that was like one of the most brilliant little turns I've ever seen. Like, yeah, you want to keep the Christian protesters out? That'll do the trick.
No, we need that at customs. God damn it.
Eat this bacon.
That'd be great. And I appreciate your like the curtains you have behind you, because I have like a printer behind me that has a comforter on it. That's my soundproofing, whatever. It's high tech stuff here in Zachrilege Studios. Actually, I don't have a formal studio name.
Yeah, this is a blanket that my wife got at like Goodwill or something like that, and so is this here and this right. We just have blankets.
You can't see there's a glory hole in a couple of them, but we don't use it.
Yeah, it's copyrighted, so we don't put it.
It was a used blanket, you know, whatever.
It was used, yeah. Yeah, if it's already there, you know, and it was pretty
lightly used. Lightly used
is a good term. So, Noah, did you have the idea to do kind of the diatribes from the beginning? And I can't I guess it's probably hard to ask if there's a favorite or a certain subject you'd like to hit, but what do you just talk about the diatribe?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was really what started the whole project, at least in my mind, was, originally when I first thought of it was, I was just thinking about putting out 5 to 10 minute rants as a podcast. And then everything else sort of, once I started talking to Heath about it and everything else, all the rest of it built from there. I don't know that I have a favorite diatribe. It's usually like, the one I'm going to write next week is my favorite, but we recently, I've got a guy working on an animation of one of them, and we recently had to go back through and pick like the right one for the animation. And I realized that it was just hopeless for me to even try. So I delegated that to Eli and Heath. And I'm just like, whatever you guys think. I can't. It's like picking between your children, I guess.
Well, you did one on kind of like the religious hospitals. And I had experience over a week ago where my mother-in-law was getting surgery at a hospital, but it was a hospital owned by some religious order. So
so like 90% of a hospital. Awesome. Perfect.
Every elevator, they had a sign that said, "Have you thanked God yet today?" And I was like, and there was a crucified Jesus like at every door frame. I'm just like, why does this, I don't understand this at all. Like,
Right.
I know why, because of money, but it's like, this doesn't fit. Or maybe that's the whole point behind religion, is like we're trying to pretend that we're part of this solution when we're just...
Yeah. Don't thank the doctors here. You're not allowed to thank the doctors here. They have nothing to do with it. Signs everywhere. Wonderful.
Yeah, and that to me is so bad too, because it's like a hospital. I saw the stuff you were posting on Facebook while you were going through there, and just like, yeah, oh, here's Jesus in the elevator, here's Jesus in the waiting room, here's Jesus in the operating room, and everything. And I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's like, real medicine, et cetera, is sort of the nemesis. Real science-based solutions to problems are sort of the nemesis of religion. So they're just trying to get in there and say, oh, look, but there's a cross in this hospital. See, we're part of this thing too. See, like over there. He helped. Jesus helped. Yeah. It's getting, I think they're getting desperate is what it is. Now just trying to like force their way into a place where you have to go. It's like generally if you have an emergency, if you're going to a hospital, you're not going to be, I don't like that one. They're a little pushy or whatever. You're just going to go to the nearest hospital. So I guess, it's captive audience marketing.
Yeah, you can't really yell at the helicopter driver and be like, no, go to the...
Yeah, right.
What are you going to do?
I prefer a secular hospital.
Like real doctors, all of them, all the medical stuff, 100%? No, can't do that.
Yeah, you don't get a choice on that. Yeah, you pretty much go wherever you can, and I guess deal with it as best you can. So how does it work with your schedule, like doing the show leading up to the dramatic, up all night prior to Thursday morning release of the show every week?
Here, let me move the camera just a little bit. I guess on this camera you won't be able to see it, but those two back there, those are my checklists, et cetera, of diatribe, outro, headlines, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, no, the schedule changes so much week to week, depending on whether, whether we've got, a section of the Quran to read, or whether we've got a guest on God Awful Movies that we have to work around, whether I have an interview to prep for on Scathing Atheist. So yeah, I mean, at least my schedule is just sort of, what needs to be done by tomorrow. And that's my schedule for today.
Yeah, there's usually a good amount of stuff on that list each day. So
yeah.
Deadline pressure is good.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I love living like that. I actually had to turn to Heath at one point and say, hey, are you that kind of person too? Because I'm the kind of guy that loves to have a deadline that he's up against, And if you don't like living that way, it's miserable. But I apologize if our power goes out. This storm is really kicking in over here. But so like, and every time, like, we sort of get it down to where, okay, it seems like everything's fitting into the schedule just fine. Let's start another podcast or whatever. So I had to kind of turn to Heath and go like, am I just insane here? I mean, do you also enjoy like always having 12 hours worth of shit to do every day?
And my answer was yes.
Yeah.
You are insane, and I do enjoy that. Also.
False dichotomy, apologies.
Yep.
Check and check. Can we talk, this probably hasn't come up in any other interviews you've done, but can we talk about your fantasy football for atheists kind of league you have going on? Because I hear there's like some bragging rights going on.
Oh, are you talking about the one that I'm the all-time leader in wins and points in for all 3 seasons we've done? That league? You're talking about that league that I still haven't won yet. Unbelievable.
I got to say, honestly, we will probably get like angry emails from listeners for talking about it on your show. Like I basically didn't bring it up at all last year. And that's not just because my team was complete shit and I had a terrible year and I went up against the guy with the most points almost every week. But it's honestly, mostly it was because people keep sending me emails saying, okay, if you can not talk about fantasy football for a year, I'll be a patron. You know, we promise. Stuff like that. And the guy who said that, by the way, still isn't a patron. I've been keeping track.
You know, yeah, you can remember these things. No, I just bring it up because I do recall Bill from Barroom Atheist, and you can sort of blame him because I was on his show. That kind of got me started a little bit. And he mentioned it before, and I'm like, well, I've done fantasy football. I've done a bunch of interviews with fantasy football people, and I do a football show. And I'm like, well, I always feel weird talking about football on this show because I'm like, that's not about football. But
right,
football and religion have an interesting intersection there, and that's something that is.
Yeah, we have an atheist. Or I don't know. Is Foster got a job now? I mean, I know.
We got one guy who admitted.
Aaron Rodgers sounds like an atheist. Also.
He's a humanist, I guess. So I mean, but he hasn't talked about that at all. But he has made fun of Russell Wilson's God stuff. So yeah, probably an atheist.
I had to guess.
But Arian Foster, I mean, did somebody sign him? Where is he now?
I'm not sure.
I know Houston dropped.
He got cut. It's like
he definitely got cut, but
he admitted. I don't know if he had admitted before. I think everybody kind of knew, but it came out, and then it was like everybody's like, "Oh, look, he got cut because of that." I'm like, "No, he got cut because he's like 31-year-old guy tore his Achilles."
Well, he's been injured like 3 years in a row too, or whatever.
Plus, Texas RFRA protects them from firing him for that. I think that's how that works.
I know how pissed was like the Georgia legislature when North Carolina just like jumped over, because everybody's been talking about Georgia like the past couple weeks about our RFRA, and our governor's like, well, it sounds kind of good, you know, I'm on the fence, yeah. And then North Carolina's just like, screw it, we're passing a law in 12 hours.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I think Deal's loving that, you know. He can say, oh, guys, look at what North Carolina's doing until May 4th. That'll be great.
Yeah. He's secretly a little pissed, though, that he's not in first place anymore. A little bit.
But can't you admit that, I mean, Georgia is kind of like, I mean, we say it's like close to the bottom in terms of education and stuff like that, and poverty is not so good, but Georgia seems to be the state where they copy from other states. Like, we're only doing RFRA because like 8 other states did it. Like, we're not a trendsetter here in Georgia. They're just follower bigots. They're lazy and bigots.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that Georgia did first, and I mean, I've been doing a lot of like
first prison colony in the United States.
Okay,
that's exciting for Georgia.
That's exciting.
But I don't think we were. Well, yeah, I guess we were the first full prison colony. But
yeah,
there were some. Yeah, and that was all like a bunch of religious zealots trying to turn the criminals into good Christians too. So yeah, I guess we've been on that path the entire time. So yeah, but yeah, right. Now that you mention it, I mean, Georgia's not even leading the way in bigotry anymore. That's sad. It's sad to say, because when I was a kid, I think they were a bigotry leader, but
no longer on the cutting edge.
No,
they've fallen behind.
Yeah, I mean, like states like Indiana. I mean, Indiana, what the hell? You're not even in the Confederacy, guys. You weren't even a slave state. Give me a break. You can't be as racist as Georgia. Step it up, Nathan Deal.
Yeah, they're overachievers for sure. So
what's the first time anybody ever said that about people in Indiana? Well done.
Yeah. Kind of an opposite Cinderella to the basketball team. They're
they're playing tonight, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look at all the sports ball talk, making it so popular with the atheists.
Oh yeah.
They're playing Carolina, right?
I have no idea.
I think they're playing Carolina. It's gonna be
So how did you guys say, okay, 1 podcast, whatever, how about 2? How did you decide we want to do a political show in the Skeptocrat?
For me, it expanded the subject of the dick jokes that we could cover. Like it just widened it way out with politics and all that pop culture and current events that weren't necessarily just about religion. So now, it just seemed like more material, penis material.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that we would look at early on in the Scathing Atheist, and we say, oh, I want to do this story. I'm like, yeah, but there's really nothing. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with atheism, and we like try to fight. Well, did Pat Robertson say something about it? Did somebody say something stupid about it? So the Skeptocrat was sort of an answer to that.
And little did we know that Donald Trump would become the leading GOP candidate in
you guys
presidential election a year later.
Yeah, struck gold. Like no better time ever to start a political podcast right before the Trump phenomenon.
I mean, does it feel to you that we're like waiting for the adults, like the real politicians who actually care about getting things done, to come out, and like these like opening acts are going to lead the stage?
I've got to say, it certainly seems to me like Paul Ryan is making a run for that brokered convention at this point. He's coming out on social media going like, I'm sorry for saying that poor people were disgusting and it was all their fault that they were poor. I'm not really like that anymore. I made a mistake. So yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be a twist before it's over. And maybe that's just because I cannot imagine that Donald Trump will actually be a major party nominee.
And I can't imagine how we're using Paul Ryan as an example of the adults in this case.
Right.
That's pretty
how
scary
far
and
we've
depressing.
fallen.
I mean, he's an adult, I guess. He thinks he ran a marathon in 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, when I talked to the guys on Paleo Radio, and they're like, want to be conservatives, but they can't because of the people that are involved. And they're like, well, John Kasich is kind of a moderate. I'm like, so the guy who decided to totally defund Planned Parenthood and make jokes about women, that's the moderate now. That's the...
Yeah, the guy who's
he is. He's the moderate.
It's true. Yeah, that's terrifying.
No, it's got to be horrible. Because I understand at least where the conservatives are coming from. I don't agree necessarily with the conservative economic platform, et cetera, but I understand it. It's not stupid. It's not like, brain dead mercantilism like Donald Trump is promoting. Every time I see one of their debates, I'm like, how frustrating does it have to be at this point to just be a sensible conservative? Just to watch your party going down in flames over racism and stupidity so much.
Well, I almost hope that Trump doesn't win and then he runs as a third party, and then somehow Bernie Sanders runs as a third party. So we have like 4 people running. So we have more, but it does seem like the beginning of the end. And of course, the beginning of much more greatness from your show, at least.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that really wants a President Trump, just for purely like, okay, the Skeptocrat will write itself for 4 years. We can basically just put that on autopilot. I would also rather, have a functional country that doesn't think it can turn itself into a panic room or completely. What did he say yesterday after that, or the day before yesterday, after the bombing in Brussels? He says, we're going to close our borders. Like what, to everybody? If I want to go to Cancun, no, we're all hanging out. Just go to Florida, okay.
That is crazy, but the show would be so fun for 4 years. Like I don't know.
I know you have to be torn.
It's really like.
Well, I don't remember there being so many debates, but I'm sure every time there's another one, everybody else is like, oh, really? And you're like, yes, we can expand the show. It can be 7 hours now.
Yeah, right. No, it's like, I think we're coming up on the last one, or did we just have the last one for the Republicans?
Yeah, I think they just did number 13.
Yeah, or they're just about to, one or the other. So yeah, I think that the next real debates we're going to have are going to be between the nominees. And I mean, just again, like Donald Trump versus a like intelligent human being with like ideas and understandings of the topics. You can't just say winning with more and more syllables when it's a one-on-one debate with people who genuinely disagree with you. Because up until this point, it's just all been debates between people who generally agree with everything the other guy's saying and don't want to piss off the other guy in case he gets the nomination. I've really been looking forward to, like, again, from a purely it'll be great for the show perspective. I'm really looking forward to a Donald Trump debate with somebody who actually wants to tear him down.
And I can't wait to see how many more questions he won't answer. How many more super easy questions he won't answer. It's going to get tested more and more.
What do you think about the Holocaust, Donald? Yes or no? Good or bad?
Think about it.
Withhold judgment. Withhold judgment.
I need to get more information. The Mexicans are all rapists, but I need more information before I answer that one.
I know I had this comparison of kind of Donald Trump versus religious people. Like the evangelicals are used to people lying to them every week, so maybe that's how Donald Trump makes it. I mean, you make the just basis, like look into religion, into the background, and you see what it is, like this house of cards. And Donald Trump is even worse almost, but people don't care because he's got the flash. I can't say there's substance there, but there's something that's reaching out to people.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, I see a lot of people trying to make sense of the Trump phenomenon through things like that. And they're like, well, maybe it's just that we've been lied to so long that even if the thing the guy's saying is just completely stupid, you know, the fact that he's outside of it, you know, whatever. Here's my thing, like within 48 hours of, what was the shooting where the little kindergartners got killed? Newtown. Within 48.
Allegedly, there's a lot of controversy.
Well, right. Okay, so
they might not have even been shot.
That's the thing. Within 48 hours of that, I had people that I went to high school with posting shit like, this seems awfully convenient from the anti-gun perspective. I'm sure the government had something to do with it. And I'm like, yeah, like, we know, you see those people every fucking day. You know those people are there. Those are the people that are voting for Donald Trump. There's no, we don't need it. We're that stupid. As a country, we're that stupid. And we don't need to explain this without, like, whatever it is, like 30% of the people in this country support Donald Trump or something. 72% of them believe Jesus is going to come back within their own lifetime. If 50% of them don't know which goes around which between the sun and the earth. You know, like we don't need any complicated theories of political science to figure out why people are voting for Donald Trump. People are voting for Donald Trump because they're stupid.
Also, no calling massacres of kindergartners convenient. I think doesn't matter if that word actually doesn't apply. No.
Well, it's a little sad when you said massacre of kindergartners. I was like, wait, which one? No.
Right. Yeah. Well,
and when it comes to shooting, I mean, it was the whole like in Belgium. Oh, it was Muslims. Okay, let's go after them. And in the U.S., it's like, yeah, let's wait. Let's think about this. Let's not. Let's not rush to judgment.
Right. I think we should ban bullets from our borders from now on. Just no bullets anymore. They keep doing
Turn them back, just a big Kevlar wall. Yeah, make the. I can't say that the Mexicans. Who makes bullets? We do. Shit.
We do shit.
We'll make the Americans pay for it. Sorry, nothing else.
But is it a little worrisome that we have this large groundswell of people, like, because the evangelicals, like the right wingers, voted so much, we ended up with like W and a bunch of really dumb like legislatures. Is there someone who can actually talk to these people and maybe talk sense into them, or are they just going to listen to the kind of dog whistle type candidates and we're screwed?
Well, here's my opinion on that for whatever it's worth. I feel like those people have always been a part of the American political process. It's just that for years now, but especially since Obama was elected, but even leading up to that, the Republican Party has been courting those people. You know, they've been courting the Tea Party. They've been courting the evangelical fundamentalists and stuff like that. They've been courting that group of people. So, you know, you can only court that group of people and keep promising them, like, I promise we'll make abortion illegal. They know they're not going to make an abortion illegal. They're not going to do anything of the sort. We'll shut down the Department of Education. They know that. We know they're not going to really do that. But they've been catering to those people for so long that it was bound to eventually happen that those people would start taking over their party. You know, you've been making these hollow promises to these people, like they're never going to realize that you've been lying to them for the last, 50 years. That this whole, like, catering to the evangelical dog whistle type issues was never going to come to bite you on the ass. But again, you're getting more and more of those people. And I don't even know if they represent the majority of the Republican Party or not at this point, but they represent such a big amount that they can produce the plurality of the votes for Donald Trump if the entire rest of the party can't settle on somebody, obviously.
Well, it's an intriguing strategy now because so few people actually vote, and especially in like local elections, that if you can get a certain small group excited, you can win elections. And the thing that's scary is you look at states like Louisiana and like Kansas, and they voted in a bunch of people who don't like government and obviously don't know how to run government. And look at those states. And you know when it got noticed in Louisiana? When they said they might not have LSU football this year, then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait a second.
Rabble.
They're kind of screwed in Kansas because they're pretty bad. I went to Missouri, by the way, so you know.
Oh, I see.
It's just yeah, I think the good and bad. But
Yeah, well, no, when you're in Missouri, you know, there are only a few states you can look to and say, we're better than that state, and Kansas is certainly one of them. So.
yeah, it's been interesting there.
I lived in Missouri for a little while. Lived in St. Louis and then Branson for a little while.
I think it's also a problem, by the way, in places like this, that somebody like the Koch brothers have enough money in their wallet at any given moment to buy an entire election in Kansas or buy an entire election in Florida, just like that. And we have a Supreme Court ruling that says they can keep doing that. So that's going to be terrifying until we fix that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, we need ourselves a 9th Supreme Court justice. That'd be nice.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's supposed to be 9.
I'm starting to wonder now if we're just going to whittle it down. If as they die, we're just going to have fewer and fewer until there's just like 3 guys left going, oh shit. Can we get past the partisan thing?
It's the opposite of Roosevelt, who kept trying to make the Supreme Court larger so he could just put all his guys in there.
Oh, it's just going to be Ruth Bader Ginsburg in a Krang outfit for holding it down.
Yeah, we should hope for the health. So what did you get? I don't know, because you usually just, you throw it out there. You don't really worry about, it seems like, what other people think. When you were talking about Scalia, and a lot of people came back on Scalia, like, you can't talk about the dead just generically. You guys
Obviously
were like,
you can.
You guys were like, fuck you, we're going to do it. What was it like? Was it particularly enjoyable? Because I think the line was something about the most enjoyable person who died, and I still felt good about it.
Yeah. No, I had multiples. It was great.
The good thing that
I didn't need that.
It's great just thinking about it right now.
2 weeks.
I got a halfie.
Move over here a little bit. No, yeah. I mean, honestly, the great thing about the universe of podcasting is there are how many podcasts are there? Tens of thousands of active podcasts, plus all the ones that are still just there in archives. Nobody who doesn't want to hear what we have to say ever hears what we have to say. You know what I mean? It's not like there's Christians that are just, the Scathing Atheist, I wonder what this is about. So, I mean, I'm sure there are atheists that listen to the show and they're like, whoa, this is, they're making fun of dead people. This is too much for me. But we very rarely hear from them. The vast majority of the people, I think, know what they're getting into.
And the point you made on that very episode was great, is you were in the middle of writing a scathing headline about the living Antonin Scalia when he died. What are you going to throw out that head? No, of course.
I actually had to, though. Yeah, no. When he died, I literally had just Googled his name to find out, what year he was born or something like that. And of course, everything comes up and says, "Oh, Scalia's dead. Scalia's dead." This was within, an hour of it being reported. And I thought,
maybe you caused it.
Yeah. Oh, you never know.
Did you hire that prostitute?
That was Obama. I mean, yes. But and that's just the thing is, like, I mean, I've never been nice to him before. It seems disrespectful to be nice to him now. Like, if I come out and say something nice about Antonin Scalia at this point,
that would have been more offensive.
Absolutely, because everybody would have known that was complete horseshit. So yeah, I'll be consistent. I mean, when Pat Robertson dies, we already have a bit waiting to go. It's already recorded and edited.
I have a feeling he might be making fun of our eulogy.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
We'll see.
We're assuming that he can die or isn't already.
Yeah, I was wondering if there are certain people, like when Pastor Manning, like his church was getting taken away from him, did you have like a moment of silence? Did you wear black for a week or two because you might not have him anymore to talk about?
I beat off into a Starbucks for him, yeah.
I drank it.
No, honestly, there are some people who, like, you just, like with Pastor Manning, I feel a little guilty because I feel like, you know, you can't diagnose a person from afar, and I couldn't diagnose him from close up. But I feel like that guy's just mentally ill. You know what I mean? Like, if you listen to Pastor Manning talk, the kind of shit he's saying, like, that guy's probably just got issues that, you know, maybe he should be on some medication that he's not on. People always mistook it for religion or something like that. But
that's how we get Newtown. It's people like him.
Yeah, right. But when you look at a guy like Pat Robertson, you know, like I mean, you know, maybe not so much anymore, but there was a time when he was in his right head and he was saying even worse shit than he's saying now. So, like, yeah, if he lost, you know, whatever, if he got thrown in prison with Jared Fogle or whatever, I certainly wouldn't feel all that guilty celebrating that, you know.
I'd want to send him some paper so he could write stuff down and send it back to us just in case he had clever witticisms like he does now.
Yeah, I guess we'd miss him on the show.
Although, really, when it comes down to it, you have plenty of material in the U.S. You really need to go international.
Yeah, but I gotta say, man, honestly, like P-Robes, like he's as good. He's almost as good as like 9 other crazy people, because like virtually anytime I'm like, okay, we're one story short. What's P-Robes been up to? And he'll have some crazy, stupid thing he said that week that we're like, oh, well, that's just asking to be a 30 seconds on the clock bit. So. And also, you know, we have the long scroll of Pat Robertson insults that we can break out at a moment's notice too.
Yeah, it's like off the top of the head.
Yeah. I do nothing off the top of my head, man.
So between like the two of you, just, you know, the one video comment I can have is that, like, between the two of you, you have like a normal amount of hair. It's pretty impressive. The two of you have.
Well, that's because you can only see the neck up hair. But
I know. So is your diatribe strength compared to the amount of hair? Like, you cut your hair, or you lose it? Will you not be able to speak into a microphone anymore?
Well, you know, I don't know, and I don't want to find out necessarily. No, honestly, I've been wearing my hair the same since like 1987 or something like that. So, yeah, it's entirely possible. I'm like Samson. I'm like the opposite of Samson, maybe. Like I'm really skinny, and then if I ever cut my hair, then suddenly I'll be all like bulky and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like
maybe I need to grow hair, and I won't be quite as wide. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, it's probably all that Valdosta pizza you've been eating, right? Special stuff.
Yeah, they've got some ketchup on their bread.
But when did you two, like, this is kind of a totally out of left field question, but when did you two meet, and how did you become like close? Because, you know, you're like platonic, you know, soulmates.
All right, well, platonic, but soulmates, sure.
Platonic-ish.
Platonic during this interview, as far as you guys know, yeah. But we did originally meet doing a toy company thing for a while that some listeners may know about. I think we've mentioned on 1 or 2 episodes, maybe a little bit.
Around to see if I have one sitting here.
We both back in the day worked for a toy company. Noah here before me, and I actually met this guy when I was going to an event, film shooting that this toy company was doing. And that's how I met that whole crew of that business, including this guy. And we spent a bunch of years selling basically full body hacky sack type things in toy stores like F.A.O. Schwartz, and going to schools around New York City. So that's our industry expertise right there. That's how we got into this.
Yeah, if the podcasting thing ever fails, I'm sure we can get back into professional hacky sacking if need be.
It is nice to have a fallback, but
yeah,
I'll cut back to the politics thing. So, how long did Eli cry when he realized that Bernie Sanders is a likely goner?
Not as much as he cried when Ben Carson dropped out of the race.
Oh yeah.
Or when Carly Fiorina's daughter died.
Yeah, he won't let that go.
He laughed 2 tears on that one, but. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, like you can still talk to people that'll tell you Bernie's not a goner now. You know, they're like, oh, wait for California. I'm like, I don't think he's going to win that by like 90%. But, you know, I mean, I think it's great that Bernie's going to stay in. I want Bernie to stay in all the way to the convention. I want like Bernie to remind the Democrats that being liberal is not necessarily a death knell, and I want everybody to recognize that in another 20 years, this country is going to be a lot further left. Like we say in the Skeptocrat that we're far middle. Like if you compare us to like the entire industrial world, we're pretty much basically in the middle. But if you compare us to America, we're way left.
Yeah.
And I think America is shifting more towards that European left.
I love Bernie. I mean, I'd love for him to be president, but I am glad that, like you said, he's gonna move things. Like, the next Martin O'Malley is gonna maybe be just like Bernie Sanders, but not 75 and barking old man that isn't quite as electable, and we might get an electable version of him one day, and that'd be just about great. We'll see.
Is there any chance that we'll get a Theremin Solo in an upcoming show?
It'll be a upcoming, like way upcoming show. Man, that thing is so hard to play. Crazy fun though. So like just so everybody knows, we're talking about Heath bought me a Theremin for my birthday, and it's an instrument where you have an antenna and you move your hand closer and further to get different notes, and it's extremely hard to hold a key in that thing, but it's also like it's amazingly fun and it's amazingly intuitive. It's just really, really tough. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'm trying to master the Star Wars theme because it sounds kind of like R2-D2 is whistling it when I do it. And then I'm trying to I was doing some air theremin, by the way, as I was saying that.
Theremin.
And I'm trying to learn Eye of the Tiger because that's just like ridiculously fun.
That's what we listen to before every show to get psyched up.
Yeah,
so we'll have a Theremin version soon. It's gonna be awesome.
I like that. It's your pregame music.
Yeah, we run up and down the beach. We chase chickens together. It's a delightful time.
Yes. In way too short shorts from the 80s.
There's no such thing as way too short shorts on this guy.
Oh, awesome. So when did you decide?
I said it was a good size.
You said it was good. You said it looked good on me. When did you decide that suffering through a Christian movie a week was an even price to pay to get Eli working full-time with you on god-awful movies?
I don't know if we ever decided it was an even price to pay, but we're doing it. No, it's absolutely 100,000% worth it just to get Eli going more and more and more. That guy's hilarious. We love having him be more and more involved in everything. Obviously, that show especially.
Yeah. No, the honest truth is, look, I mean, Eli has been a big part. I think the first time he was on our show was episode 4, something like that. He was the first guest that we ever had on that wasn't, myself, Heath, or Lucinda, the first other person to appear on the show. And, ever since then, he's been a big part of what we've done. I think he's been a big part of our success. And when he found himself kind of in the similar position that I did, the company he'd been working for years and years and years basically shut down. The company he thought he was going to retire from shut down. We wanted to find a way to keep him doing what he loved to do and what we loved him doing. And I mean, if I got to watch a crappy movie once a week, it's we're watching Kirk Cameron's Mercy Rule this week. I'm sure that's going to be better than
it's so
Batman versus Superman.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I wondered about that because some weeks you actually watch movies that have pretty good production values and actually have like even A-list actors. Mm-hmm. You prefer the Kirk Cameron kind of movies?
Yes. Absolutely.
I consider him an A-list actor.
How dare you
I grew up on
the name of
Pains.
Kirk?
Growing Pains was a genius show. It launched DiCaprio and, Alan Thicke. Come on.
You forget Thicke of the Night, sir. Alan Thicke was already big. I absolutely prefer the low production quality. Like once in a while we watch a movie where it's just like, I mean, that was just a bad movie. That wasn't, that was just like they could have done that on How'd This Get Made or something like that. I mean, that didn't really, descend to the level of Eli making fun of it. But then once in a while you get a movie like If Footmen Tire You, and it makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, there actually are movies that seem as crazy as Revelations. Well, I'll take your word for it because you're the ones who read it.
I haven't found a movie that crazy yet. I'm looking forward to that one if it's out there.
I don't know how Michael Bay didn't make Revelations the movie yet. It's crazy. That'd be amazing.
Zack Snyder could do it.
Oh, yeah. That was my tweet before I got on here. Please do not Zack Snyder this interview.
How's that guy still working? I know he's got fans and everything. I have hated everything he's done.
Did you see Batman Superman yet?
No, I have definitely. I don't even think it's in the realm of so bad it's good. I might just go see Big Fat Greek Wedding too, right? What a weekend of, the choices are just endless of great movies.
Well, God's Not Dead 2 comes out on April 1st. And they did that on purpose, apparently. I'm not just fucking with you. That's the actual date they chose. So don't worry, there's something good coming to theaters this year.
Is it already penciled in that's like your movie you're doing
Absolutely.
that week?
Yeah, I was just saying you can't go because I got my shitty camera, but yeah, like this.
It is written on a board in this room.
It's on the board right
it's
there.
On the board.
We've been waiting for this. God's Not Dead 1 was the first one that we did. That was our first movie review with Eli. That was in episode, I don't know, 60. I think episode 60 or 59. And we've been looking forward to this one since then. So yeah, this is one of the few that I'm actually really excited to see. Melissa Joan Hart. And I'll tell you what, she's held up. She's still pretty hot.
Clarissa explains it all. Definitely.
But is it a good thing or a bad thing for you that this Christian movie thing has become such a big deal? I mean, the Miracles from Heaven, there's a giant billboard as I drive into work, and I'm like, Jennifer Garner, she won an Academy Award, right?
Did she?
She's in this. I thought she just retired to do credit card commercials, but she's
well,
not only did she do it, she was doing interviews where she was like, I believe in miracles. And I'm like,
I take my kids to the church every day. Yeah, and Affleck's going, yeah, I bet you do. No, and actually she was phenomenally good in the movie. She fucked up the Southern accent because everybody apparently does.
She just stopped doing it after
exactly. But she was spectacularly good. It was a really well acted movie all around, basically. Even the kid actors did pretty well. But even all of that and the production quality cannot save it from the stupidity of the script. That's the thing is that, when we see a movie like that, then we're like, yeah, okay, this isn't going to be as fun because I'm not going to be able to make fun of, the lighting and stuff. But the scripts are always so bad, there's an hour plus worth of material just there.
That is true. I almost feel like I should be watching the movie along with you.
That would be a horrible idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. We do not recommend that.
Yeah. You watch it. That'd be your tagline. We watch it so you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. I think Ross and Carrie are already basically doing that tagline, so I'm not going to take it from them.
Okay. So you guys have, obviously you have a big audience because you're doing this for a living, but you talk about how amazingly giving your audience is. They were the ones who donated the most during the David Smalley 24-hour podcast, and then helping out the Humanist Service Corps that's actually still going on until I think tomorrow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well,
check it out.
I'll tell you what, the thing is, I feel like, atheists have the same thing everybody else has. Look, nothing feels as good as helping out another human being. Nothing gives you as much happiness that's as long lasting. I believe that's that the science actually agrees with me on all of that. And atheists don't have as many good opportunities, I feel like, as religious people do, to be charitable. And then you've got to be worried about the charity. When you first found out, what the Salvation Army was doing with your money, you're like, oh shit, no, I can never give to them again. So, and you've got to be careful about which charity you select, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that, atheists are dying for a chance to be generous, and they don't get as much of a chance. And, look, atheists, generally speaking, have higher incomes, have higher educations, et cetera. So, I know we've got people listening to the show from, every end of the political or the economic spectrum, but we have a lot of listeners that can afford to give back and are looking for that opportunity. And clearly, we did this fundraiser for the Humanist Service Corps, and, their overall goal was to raise $5,000 in 2 weeks. Our audience got that for them in 24 hours. So, Actually, it was a lot less than that. I think it was like 13. It was just shy of 12, though. I couldn't quite say in 12 hours, and be honest.
And just in general, I'm really, I think we're all really excited about this, vulgarity for charity thing that we kind of threw out on this last episode, and such a good response. People sending us email after email and tweet after tweet. All right, insult this person. Here was my pledge. I donate. It's fantastic to see, and we're having so much fun with it. Great.
But you have to be honest with the cognitive dissonance guys. You already had like 50 things for them, right?
We only scratched the surface. Our hope is that more people want Tom and Cecil insulted. No, I got to be honest with you. Like, this is definitely something we want to do again. Find another cause in like 6 months that we can do again. And the first people I'll be reaching out to is Tom and Cecil to see if they want to help us out with it, because I think, number one, super charitable guys, and number two, they're really good at making fun of people. So, yeah, I would definitely like to get them on board with it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was supposed to be talking shit about him, and then I just said something nice. My bad.
I know. You got to pretend there's a rivalry. It's just the whole pizza thing. Other than that, you guys are pretty good.
I wouldn't call that a rivalry. That's like, like the Yankees and the Rays or something. Like, let's be realistic.
I was going to say the Harlem Globetrotters and the
or the Yankees and the Cubs.
Generals.
The Yankees and the Cubs is a perfect example. There they are. It's just about the losingest franchise in sports and winningest.
So that's
kind of like New York pizza and Chicago pizza. You guys get the idea.
Yeah. That's the only way to probably make you guys not say anything, be quiet, and go, so what's a good place in New York City to get Chicago-style pizza?
Yeah, go to Pizzeria Uno's. It's awesome. Go to Uno's. They love those chain Chicago places. It's perfect.
There's a Sparrows in Times Square.
No, there's a lot of bakeries. They'll just give you like a circle of dough, and you can just eat like this much of it, like a ball. You carry it around all day. Yeah, you put a little tomato soup in there, whatever you want.
No, look, you get great Sicilian-style deep dish pizza
in New York.
New York, yeah. But you also get like good lasagna, and we just don't call it pizza.
No, there's all sorts of good thick food. Yeah, it's just horrible. Check out, by the way, before I forget, you got to go to Grimaldi's in Brooklyn, ideally.
Yes.
Under the bridge.
It's number one.
Go to also, in my opinion, Joe's downtown near. Let's see, it's off of 6th Avenue and McDougal, I believe. Very good place downtown near a little south of Washington Square Park. Delicious. Joe's Pizza. Highly recommend. There's one in Union Square, too, if you're going to be around there, too.
You guys know your stuff.
And if you need some really good mac and cheese while you're around Union Square, I can recommend a place, too.
Oh, the Chat and Chew.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Best mac and cheese in the world, I do.
The quintessential mac and cheese, in fact, is the name of it on the menu.
I found a place when I was looking up things. There's a place that does flights of beer and flights of bacon. I was like, that might be
you must be thinking of Trafe. Was it called Trafe?
I don't remember the name.
There's a restaurant called Trafe, which is basically based on non-kosher food. That's what Trafe is. It's just
in New York City. It's like
of bacon. It's awesome.
If there's a certain type of food you like, they're going to give you multiple options. So is there a fourth podcast in the works for you guys?
Not at the moment.
Don't look at the face. Okay.
No. Honestly, because I've had a lot of people saying Lucinda should do her own show. She should, like, This Week in Misogyny should be its own show and everything. And she's working her ass off for the contributions that she already makes to the show. I think, like, in a perfect world, if we made enough from the other shows, we could hire some people to help out, like, with the the office type shit that just gets piled up at a certain point, and also with the writing and like bring other people onto the show, etc. And maybe then, because like in a perfect world, I'd love to have a show out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But yeah, we're a long ways off of that, I do believe.
I didn't see Heath's head explode. You said that, so I guess it must be okay.
My head always looks like this. What are you gonna do?
That is true. Now, so where can people find you online so they can track down all your shows?
You can check. Well, if you go into the deep web, you can find me all kinds of places. But just for regular people, scathingatheist.com would do the trick, or we don't even have anything at godawfulmovies.com yet. So yeah, scathingatheist.com. That's your best bet. Or hunt us up on Facebook or Twitter or whatever.
Easy to find, and we will, as if there are more than one person here, Me and my hat, Mr. Hat, will do the show notes for you. So I didn't know if you had an opportunity to get anything together to talk about the Patreons. If not, I can say nice things about them.
Yeah, I seriously, I sincerely apologize. Any other time it would have been no problem, but with the Vulgarity for Charity thing, I had to come up with like 30 of them last week, and I have to come up with like 30 of them next week. So yeah, I am basically complimented out. One of them was Bobby C, though, right?
That is
correct.
correct.
To compliment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm contractually obligated not to compliment him anyway. So
Wow.
I'm kidding. Bobby is like, I'm trying to get some podcast rivalries going. Apparently that drives the audience. No, Bobby's like,
Mic drop. Eat it, Bobby C.
He is, and this is the worst thing I can say about him. He is one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life, and just one of the people that atheism is
awesome.
Super lucky to have.
Starting a feud. You're so nice. We like you. You're a pleasant human being, Bobby C.
No wonder the two of you dominated the one Reason Con, the first Reason Con when they did the podcast, because the two of you were the sober people of everyone.
I was not.
No, I was
a sober person on that day, if I remember correctly, and I don't remember much, so that's why I'm assuming remembering correctly.
I had not had any alcohol. That is not synonymous with sobriety. So
I had 2 things of whiskey in my hand in every picture I saw
You
of
did
myself.
too.
I don't think I was drinking that much, but I think it was just by chance. Every single picture I have like 1 or usually 2 glasses of something in my hand. It was a fun night. It was a fun night.
No, the second Reason Con, the one I went to, Professor Steven did the interviews, and I was on, and I think of all the people in there, I think I was #1 in blood alcohol content because I could barely speak. So that was good. I'm like, oh, good. That's way to make a name for yourself, huh? As opposed to, what I got going on here. So Bobby, Hugh, and Teody, men of distinction, whether they listen to the show or not, they are patrons of this show. If you want to be a Patreon, well, it's patreon.com/Zachrilege, because I do marketing for a living. Clearly a show no one can spell is a good choice. Zachrilege. I can spell it. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, like my Zachrilege Cast page on Facebook. Send all hate mail to zachrilege.cast@gmail.com. I would like to thank Noah and Heath for being on tonight and dealing with webcam issues. So everybody stay safe. If you need the chat, I'm available. If you're an atheist and feel alone, you are not alone. Reach out. Let's chat and get that human connectedness that keeps people coming back every Sunday. Stay, either way. Skeptical. I love all y'all. Good night. That was a